Hey guys, Whitney here, and welcome to How to Invest in Passive Real Estate. I'm your host, Whitney Elkins-Hutten. I'm the Director of Investor Education here at passiveinvesting.com. And I do this video series to help you to learn how to build passive income and long-term wealth through real estate investing. So let's dive in here. So maybe you've tried to invest passively before, but couldn't quite get comfortable with actually pulling the trigger and making the investment. Or you actually invested in a deal before and went, oops, I made a mistake. Or you're just so overwhelmed by all the information out there that you just haven't even gotten started. You don't even know where to start. Well, if any of this applies to you, you're in the right place because I'll help you learn the biggest myths that investors have about passive investing that keep them sidelined and never get into an investment. I'll also help you learn the different terms, pros and cons, and yes, even math behind passive investing so you can avoid making costly mistakes. And I'll help you put all this knowledge into action so you can confidently make your first or next investment. But let's go ahead and crush a couple myths here. One, investors tell themselves that, I'm not going to do passive investing because I don't have any control over the investment, which simply is not true at all. You have an immense amount of control when you invest passively, more so than you do if you're investing in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or any sort of publicly traded assets. In passive investing, I get to make a conscious control on my investing goals. I get to also, underwrite the operator who I invest with. I know who's managing the investment. I get to fully underwrite their business before I ever write a check. I get to, underwrite the markets that they're investing in and even the individual deals that I can go into before I ever write a check. I can't do that with the stocks, okay? Stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, especially index funds. Come on, guys. How many of you are underwriting like your Tesla stock or your Netflix or Facebook stock, or underwriting the administrator that's actually managing the indexes, okay? So here in passive investing, there's a huge, vast amount of decisions that you're making before you ever get into an investment. Two, investors tell themselves that I won't make that high of a return. And that's simply not true either. Return can be monetarily within cash flow and equity. It can also be in the return of your time. Passive investing allows you to create an immense amount of leverage in your life and get your time back, which is huge as well. Okay, I know, I've done stocks, bonds, and mutual fund investing before. None of those were actually paying my bills and allowing me to travel the world, okay, on a daily basis. Passive investing for me has, just knocked that out of the park. And this is the whole reason why I passively invest, is so I can, hang with my crazy crew here. I've been in real estate since 2002, and I started off on the active side. I was doing live-in flipping and house hacking and did really well building up buckets of equity there. Didn't do a good job of actually converting that equity into cash flow. And that's when my husband and I kind of did the head slap, and we're like, oh, you've got to go into rental real estate in order to produce cash flow. When we figured out how to do that, we scaled up our portfolio, but we were still so actively involved in the building of that and managing in that portfolio. We didn't have your time back. We literally just had another job. I was a wife, a mom, working full time, taking care of three family members, actually, burning the candle at both ends, 5 times in the middle. That's when I discovered passive investing and the world just opened up to me. And fast forward a few years later, we have 6,300 units in partnership in our portfolio, as well as 1,400 self-storage units. But that's just a vanity metric, okay? That's cool and all, but what has it allowed us to do? And that is that we now have like 100% choice and freedom of how we spend our time. Okay. And it doesn't mean that I'm never not going to work again or go lay on a beach and sip Mai Tais all day long. It's that I actually get to choose how and when I interact with the world and where I work, when I spend time with my daughter, when I go play. And so it's just opened up a world of opportunities for us. And we can help you do that here at passiveinvesting.com. We've accrued over $740 million portfolio, 4,200 multifamily units under our belt. That doesn't even include the units in our self-storage portfolio and in our note portfolio. But more importantly, we have over 1,400 happy, active investors with us. Now, I do this series for you for education. Okay, we're going to talk throughout the series about financial, information, about tax, about legal. Okay, but none of this is advice. You need to take all this information back to your team and consult with them before making any sort of financial decision. You need to know how it applies to you in your situation. Now, let's dive in. Today, we're going to cover the key players in a syndication or a fund. Okay, so let's first define what a syndication is. Okay, a syndication is when a group of investors pool together, okay, specifically their capital, jointly to purchase a larger real estate deal. Okay, and it can be apartments, self-storage, notes. I mean, it can be pretty much anything under the sun. But this really, a syndication just means a group of people coming together, pooling their resources, including their capital, to access a larger deal than they probably could access on their own. Now, when we talk about the actual players, okay, two camps come to mind that we want to kind of pick apart first, and that are the general partners and the limited partners. Now, the general partners, they can also be known as the sponsors or the operators. They typically handle finding and conducting due diligence on the deal. Okay, so they're bringing the deal to the investors. They're purchasing asset or assets. They're going to go into that LLC or into that fund. They're completing all the daily maintenance and management of the asset. Okay, so they're keeping things very hands-off for their limited partner investors. They're handling all the refinancing and lending decisions on the deal as well. And they're also handling any of the sales decisions on the deal. Okay, and even if the deal goes through a 1031 exchange, okay, they'll handle the 1031 exchange for the limited partnership as well. That's awesome. Okay, the general partners elect a heavy active role, okay, in return for essentially control of the asset to be able to run it, on a day-to-day basis, but also for the cash flow and the equity they can accrue from the deal. Okay, they get a split. And apologies, before I fast forward here, they should, if they're handling everything here, they should get a split, in my opinion. Now, as a limited partner, I love the limited partner role. This is also known as the investor. Okay. Now, the investor too does conduct due diligence on the presented information that the general partnership puts in front of them. Okay. You, as a limited partner, need to be very well versed on, who the operator is, what their investment strategy is, what market is the asset in, and how is the deal and the deal structure panning out for that particular deal. Okay, you need to complete all that due diligence. Okay, the limited partner is also funding their investment. They're bringing capital to the deal. Okay, in part for the down payment, for any sort of construction or capital reserves needed for the deal. Okay, and they're responding to any request from the general partnership. So, what type of requests could the general partnership make of them? Typically, it's going to be just, hey, reading the monthly or quarterly updates, attending any sort of webinars to stay abreast of how the deal is doing. But when the deal is going through any sort of repositioning or sale, making sure they're responding for requests of information to the general partnership in a timely manner. Okay. So what is the limited partner getting out of this relationship? Well, they elect to take a passive role in the deal in return for a share of the profits, both in cash flow and potential equity. But the most return they're getting is the return on their time, because they're not the ones having to put together the deal, purchase the deal, run the deal, and make any sort of day-to-day decisions on the deal. Okay, but that's not it. There are so many other players in a syndication, and it literally takes a village to manage an asset of any sort of size. Okay, the general partnership will also bring to the table brokers, okay, to help find the deal, lenders to help be part of that capital stack to take down the deal. They'll coordinate the construction or any sort of rehab or maintenance required for the deal. They're going to locate the property managers for the deal. They're going to bring on the insurance brokers. They're going to bring on any sort of legal, partners that they need to, draft any sort of the PPMs or the operating agreements, or, answer other legal questions related to the deal. they're also going to bring on the tax, accounting, and all the bookkeeping to maintain the deal. And if the deal goes through a 1031 exchange at the end, they're even going to complete that as well. I don't know about you guys. I've been through 4 1031 exchanges personally. That's amazing. If they, that's an amazing service that operators can bring to the table. Okay. Because when you go through a successful 1031 exchange, it means it's not just the paperwork. Okay. It's actually executing the process all over again to trade up one deal into another deal. So they have to actually go find another deal to 1031 into. And if it's a fund, they also will bring the fund administrators to the table as well. Now, why does this structure work? Okay, why wouldn't the general partners just pull their personal money together as JV partners and keep the limited partner out of it? Why even do this? Well, think about it as a value circle. Okay, there's 3 slices to the pie. So one part of the value circle is that you have somebody that's finding the deal. Okay, you have another entity that's managing the deal, and then you have another entity or group that's financing the deal. Now, it can be one person. If you're actively investing in real estate and owning it all personally, guess what? You're doing all 3 of those roles. I mean, I've done that for more than 30 single family properties. Okay, and that's not including my flips. Okay, I had to take care of all of those pieces for those deals. Now, when it comes to a syndication, though, the general partnership has the deal flow. Okay, and they have the ability and the desire, very key here, they have the desire to manage the deal. Okay, they've got the time, they've got the people, they've got the systems, they got all the lending and the credit. Okay, what they need is additional capital to take the deal down. Okay, that's where the limited partner comes in, because the limited partner has capital to place to invest. Okay, but what does the limited partner not have? Okay, the limited partner probably does not have any sort of deal flow. Okay, and if they do, maybe they lack the ability or even just the general desire to be able to manage the deal. Okay, maybe they don't have all the pieces in place, like the time, the people, the systems, the lending, and the credit. So that's why this relationship is a match made in heaven, because the general partnership, it can bring 2 slices of this value pie to the table, and the LP can help bring the 3rd slice. Okay, and that's how we create a win-win here in a syndication. All right, guys, thanks so much for sticking with me today. This is just one video out of a series, so make sure you go over to passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com to get signed up to watch the rest of the videos in the series. Also, you'll get access to my masterclass videos that I do live every single week, and you can actually schedule some time with me and get some additional goodies as well. Thanks so much for joining me today.